my literary luminaries, and welcome back to another Top 5 Wednesday. This week's Top 5 Wednesday topic is the top 5 book trends that you're tired of. Now, as we all know, I don't follow anything particularly well, so I had to sort of go hunting, but what I'm basing a lot of this on is I get the online newsletter from BookBub that gives free and discounted books, lets you know that they're happening and so you can go buy them. I see a lot of trends there, so I don't know if these are necessarily trends in the grander spectrum of writing, but they're certainly trends from what I've seen of what people believe is popular or want to be popular in these genres. So I'm going to do what I can, but without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. This is the one that I've honestly joked about the most when I talk to other people about writing and books in the industry. That's I'm really tired of seeing shifters. Specifically shifter romances, but shifters in general. If I had a nickel for every book that came across my BookBub emails that was about werewolves, lycanthropes, wolf shifters, I've seen tiger shifters, I've seen dragon shifters, I think I saw bears at one point, just like anything that you could possibly be a shifter into. I have seen a book about it, and they're almost always romances, and it's just, there's so many of them. And I go and I look at some of them and I read the descriptions and I check like the sample pages, and they're not good. That's really the preface that I want to put on all of these, is that I don't necessarily think that writing these types of books is bad. There's almost always at least one that I can point to and say, I like that one. But I'm so tired of shifters. I swear to God, though, if I could figure out how to write shifter romances, I'd never have to work another day in my life. Number 2. This one's a little more vaguely worded so that I can try and encompass more, but that's the trend of sort of chosen one groups. So, I can't remember what the name of the book is, but The Testing by Joelle Charbonneau, Hunger Games, Divergent, one of the books I just read kind of does it, Terminal Regression, though I really, really enjoyed that book. But like there's been so many books, generally in YA lately, that say, this is a group of people, they're bound together by something, and only they can save everything. That's it. And again, I read Terminal Regression. It was a fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. But there's so many of them now, and especially ones like Divergent and Hunger Games and The Testing and all of that. I genuinely called The Testing in my review of it Hunger Games but in school. It was literally the same thing. It's so frustrating, especially when there's really interesting ideas that could be done with it and nobody seems to be doing it because they all want to be the next Veronica Roth, the next whoever. They want to be the next person that writes the amazing thing. And so they're all just copying each other and changing little tiny pieces of it so it's not actually plagiarism. And it's so frustrating. I'm so tired of them. And I know that potentially you could call me a hypocrite, given that one of my books is sort of that. But my argument against that is not that they are the only ones that can do it, but that they're the only ones that are trying at the moment. But I just, there's so many. Number 3. This one both is sort of in response to my number 1 and is connected to number 4. Alpha male romances. I'm so done. Every single romance that comes across my feed, maybe not every single one, but like easily 98%. It's all, Shy and Meek Madison meets sexy alpha John. Except it's never named John. Sexy Calanth. Weird name McGee. It's always like that. And it's always those sort of descriptions, dominant hunk Marcus and, innocent Genevieve. There are beta males out there. Not everybody has to be an alpha. Not everybody has to be the domineering, always in charge, I'm right and everyone else is wrong. Not everybody has to be an alpha male. It's okay to not be an alpha male. Promise. And I'd love to see one where, I'm using traditional gender roles and bear with me on that one. But, if we're talking about, straight classic relationships, why can't we have one where the female is the go-get-'em alpha type and we have a more, submissive beta male? I don't know. Maybe I should write it. But it's there's so many. And I think the problem is I personally don't like the alpha male type because they're irritating. But I don't know. There are so many of them. And I don't know if that's just me. Maybe everyone else in the world likes alpha males, but I feel like it's saturated at this point. Number 4. Number 4 ties in to number 3, and that is the romance of the millionaire, person with lots of money, almost always male. And generally, these are also BDSM style books. So this is all capitalizing on the 50 Shades of Grey train. This is, alpha male, again, powerful business executive with lots of money and lots of power, and woman who falls in love with him. All the time. And he's secretly got this dark, domineering side, and she is drawn into his world of pain and pleasure. The problem I have with these, again, it's not that I have a problem with the books in general. I've seen plenty of alpha male romances that I liked. I've seen billionaire books that I like. That's fine. The problem is the ones that I seem to come across all sound the same. All of them. There's nothing new about any of these things. There's no interesting twists. It's just, here is the rich dude, here is the girl, they have kinky sex, and move on with their lives. There's more to stories than that. There's more. And I want to see people push it that one more. Again, can we have a female millionaire? That would be cool. But it's there's so many of them, and they're all the same. All the same. There's no creativity. None. Very frustrating. And finally, number 5. Number 5 I actually had to go hunting for a little bit. The first 4 I came up with right off the top. And this one was a little more hunty. And this is less that I have specific books that were frustrating me about it, and more just sort of as a concept in general. And that's time travel. And the funny thing is, I love time travel. I think it's fascinating. I think a lot of cool stuff can be done with it. The problem is, almost every time travel story I've read hasn't done it particularly well. Because the trouble with a time travel story is that generally, if we're playing by Doctor Who, Star Trek rules, you can't change the timeline too much. I think what's the TV show? Timeless that's on right now? I haven't seen enough of it, but they go back and they change things, and then you see, these huge ripple effects when they get back to their time. It's all sorts of ridiculous things are changing. I think the TV show went back and saved the Titanic or something like that. And when the woman went back, her whole life was different because one of her family members got caught up in all of that, and so her world changed. And that's a very real thing. We saw it in Harry Potter with the Time Turner, is that you can't let yourself see yourself, as terrible a sentence as that is, because your brain will explode, basically. And there's only so much you can do before everything else is changed. And yes, the Time Turner worked better And I have less problems with it used because they use it in very short order. So the path of repercussions in history is very short. We're only covering, 2 weeks or whatever it is. And so, yes, maybe there were a lot more issues that if they hadn't changed things, Buckbeak was killed and Sirius was sent back to Azkaban and all that, maybe that would have much greater repercussions throughout the rest of the books. We can imagine some of those, especially with Sirius. But they aren't affected because all the time travel happens here. The problem with a lot of time travel is people going back way farther, changing something from, 100 years ago, and then affecting 100 years of history as you come back. And so much can change just because of one, talk about butterfly effect. One little change could completely change everything. And so there's not much forward momentum a book can have unless the end goal of the book is to have a radically altered world at the end. And I feel like I've seen something... Oh, I know what I've seen like that recently. Not recently, but it's Back to the Future. It's the Back to the Future problem. Is that when Marty shows back up in his time frame, everything is wildly different. Because of what happened when he but when he altered the past. And so I really, really, really like the concept. I just think it's incredibly difficult to do well, and too many people don't do it well. Those are my top 5 book trends that I'm sick of seeing. Let me know what are some of yours. Tell me in a comment down below or on Twitter at KRIanFrey. As always, I'd love to hear from you. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It is very much appreciated and very much helps. And hey, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, why not subscribe? YouTube will very kindly notify you anytime that I put up a new video, particularly if you hit the little bell icon, which should be every Tuesday and Thursday. But until next time, I shall bid you all adieu, and I will see you all on Tuesday for another Tuesday Talks. Bye! My phone vibrated and I don't know why. Oh, friend is talking to me. Friend has to wait. Phone's trying to fly away. Please stay there. Maybe the next time you see me, I won't be sick. That would be nice. Because I've got another day off in a couple days and I'm going to make more videos then. I'm so tired of this cold.